God bless you to all of my Facebook friends and family. This is me, Dr. Erica Wyatt, and I just wanted to come on for a brief few minutes to share something with you that I'm praying will encourage you on today. I first want to say happy MLK Day to all of you out there. I pray you're getting some time to rest and some time with your family and friends, just a time for a day off and just to celebrate an awesome man of God who did some amazing things for us. And he's truly an example of someone who understood his purpose and understood God's call on his life. And so he was willing to go to immense lengths and measures to be able to fulfill his purpose in the earth. So he's truly an example to each and every one of us of what purpose is all about and how God's purpose for our lives and our ability to allow him to work through us to be a testimony to other people can truly transform us, transform our families, transform our communities, our neighborhoods, and the world around us. But I wanted to take some time on today to talk to you about something very specific in reference to this year of elevation, because again, as I shared with all of you, this is our year of elevation. This is a year that God has taken us higher. It's a year that he's doing some amazing things in our lives. And so I wanted to take some time to share something with you out of my book, Striving to Live a Life of Purpose, my journey from teenage mom to PhD graduate, that really will hopefully help you to be able to elevate your thinking, elevate the way that you see yourself, and the way that you see God's purpose and his plan for your life. So I want to read a small segment of my book to you that's specifically about the way that we see ourselves and the way that we criticize ourselves can hinder us in our walk with God. So I believe that our inability to get over who we are or are not is one of the main reasons why many of us may live an entire lifetime without ever achieving our fullest potential and walking in God's purpose for our lives. It can be difficult to believe that God will want to use you when you know all of the intricate details concerning your life. Well, let me assure you that God has a plan and purpose designed just for you. He knows you better than you know yourself, and he still chose you. And that is something, I wrote that in my book because it was something that revelation for me kind of broke me free from a lot of things in my life. And one thing that I believe is that a lot of times people fail to live out their purpose, or they fail to break away from certain things, whether it be toxic relationships, whether it be, being in a job that they don't like, or that's really not serving their purpose, that's really not just uplifting for them. Many times we remain stuck in different situations in our lives because of the way that we see ourselves, the way that we criticize ourselves. When we look at ourselves in the mirror, what are we saying to ourselves? Are we saying what God has said about us? Are we saying that I am fearfully and wonderfully made? Are we saying that I am unique? I'm a peculiar person. I'm God's special possession. What are we saying about ourselves? Are we criticizing ourselves? And many times we allow ourselves to remain connected to things that do not lead us closer to our God-given purpose, is because of the way that we see ourselves, because we have not gotten over ourselves. We haven't gotten over our mistakes. We haven't gotten over our shortcomings. We haven't gotten over the things that we know that we have done that may not have been pleasing to God, or may not exhibited all that God desires for our lives. And many times we remain stuck in certain predicaments that are keeping us stagnated and paralyzed in our past and not allowing us to move forward into the purpose that God has for us, is because of how we see ourselves. And so I want to encourage you on today to elevate your thinking. And the way that you begin to do that is by understanding what God has said about you, what God has said about your purpose and your plan. God has chosen you in spite of your shortcomings. He's chosen you in spite of your weaknesses, because his love for you is unconditional. And he chose you before the foundation of the world. So there is nothing that you could ever do that would disappoint him to the point of no longer choosing you, or basically making your purpose null and void. Regardless of where you are, what you have done in your life, God has still called you, and there is still purpose waiting on you. So in order for you to begin to live that out and to walk that out every day of your life, you have to elevate your thinking past the way that you personally see yourself, and really seek God for how he sees you. Really gain an understanding of God's viewpoint, of the way that he looks at you. And I just want to encourage you to know that God loves you in spite of your weaknesses, in spite of your shortcomings, in spite of your mistakes. He loves you in spite of all of those things. And he has still called you, and there is still purpose waiting on you. So now all that's left to do is for you to begin to walk that out, and walk it out in confidence, not in your own confidence, not in your own strength, but in the strength of who God is in your life. So I want you to be encouraged on today. Know that I love you. Know that God loves you. And know that this is your year of elevation. God is calling you higher to live out and walk out your God-given purpose, because there are people that are waiting for you to live that out. There are people whose lives will never be changed and transformed until you make a conscious decision to walk out God's purpose for your life in spite of your past, in spite of your mistakes, and in spite of your shortcomings. So be blessed on today, and have an awesome day. God bless.